Hello, everyone. Welcome to Allianz Joy. I'm so glad to see you this week in this episode. I have a great guest again. I'm super excited. So thank you for watching today. And if you're listening on Spotify, thank you for that as well. We are now a talk show. We are now also on several platforms. So I can tell you that later. I'm going to introduce my guest first. My name is Eliane Haan. You know about Allianz Joy. I'm trying to bring you some joy, bring you some energy, bring you information about mind, body, spirit every week. And today I have an amazing guest, Anne Gilbert. She's here today with me today on this talk show. And I am going to share a little bit about Anne. We've known each other since 2015. Anne is a friend and a seasoned entrepreneur and executive, the owner, and I'm going to add a little bit to that. She's the owner, CEO. She's a social media expert. She's a people manager of the only Fit Her health and fitness club exclusively for women in Florida, where she dedicates herself to the success of her team and members. I love that so much. Dedicates herself to the success of her team and members. An award-winning leader in the fitness industry and promotes active longevity through innovative programs. She can be seen as part of the Fox 13 family in Tampa Bay and works as a program presenter and creator with a multitude of fitness and wellness events and organizations. With over 3 decades of experience helping communities thrive in their health, Anne is a sought-after speaker, an inspirational leader. She is a presenter and program creator at SCW Fit. That is one of the affordable streaming fitness certifications, programs, conventions, free webinars, online content, and designed and really created the active aging program SEAT for them, and also worked for the International Council on Active Aging, for the Asia Fitness Conference, for CanFit Pro in Canada, and so forth. I can go on and on. I can just go for an hour about everything you have accomplished. I am so proud of you. If you're here watching and listening for the first half an hour, please make sure that you're muted, because I'm going to have a great interview with Anne, and then we're going to all talk together. So stay after the first 30 minutes for our interactive time together. Thank you, Anne, for being on the show today. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much.
I'm excited too. Thank you for having me.
I am always so excited to see you. My first question is, who is Anne? Tell us a little bit about Anne. Who's Anne?
Oh, if I were to make a list of who I am, it would probably start at this chapter in my career as an educator. I would also say I am a business owner, so I live in that space on it 7 days a week. I create programs so that I can meet my clients and my students and my team where they're at on a daily basis. And I'm a presenter, and I think I'm surviving chapters, if you will. Surviving chapters, because this is my 40th year in the health and fitness business, and I call myself a survivor for many reasons. We can talk about that throughout the show, but I think I've survived all these trends that have happened with us in the industry. I've survived the weight loss only trend, the step trend, the focus on physique enhancement only. I've survived aerobic competition trends. I've done all of those things. Started a personal training program in a department that was very successful for 13 clubs in Tampa. Survived all of it, and I still feel as though we're moving on into new chapters. So I would say if you ask me who I am, I can list what I do. Yes. But who I am is a survivor of different chapters in the health and fitness industry in the last 40 years.
I love that.
That's who I am. I'm a survivor.
You are a survivor, and I love that so much. We're going a little bit in a personal note here in a little bit, but surviving so many trends in the first place, right? Because we've been, I can say we've been in 30, 40 years, in the fitness industry, and going away from just a six-pack, going away from not being able to walk the next day. The most beautiful thing that you have created are so many programs for what we now call active agers, which is a way better word for us, right? Than seniors or anybody else that wants to call themselves that. So it's such a beautiful thing, because we are so much more informed about the things that we can and we cannot do. And
I think what turns the corner on that I gotta say this before I forget. I
Yeah.
think what turns the corner on all those moving away from all those trends is the fact that we called it exercise for all those years, didn't we? For
Yeah.
40 years, we've been calling what we do exercise. And now we realize, and that's why I'm joyful today, and I have a huge smile, because there's a future even for a 71-year-old entrepreneur, right? Because we now call it movement.
Yes.
And not exercise. And as soon as we got away from having to call everything a new exercise or a new program or a new technique, and we moved away from it being about weight loss only and started thinking about movement, we really started addressing the needs for the overall population, not just the 20% of the population that comes into my fitness facility or goes into your fitness facility. But
Yeah.
now we're really able to address the needs of the 20%, yes, with innovative programming, but the 80% that's not there yet and not moving. We can teach them with our skill sets the need for movement. I think that's huge.
No, thank you for bringing that up, because absolutely, it was always fitness or exercise related in a sense of how you should look exterior, and there was such little attention paid to the interior motivation, right? How we can just have people be more attentive to functional movements. Absolutely. So I love that it's more movements. Tell me a little bit about the seed program, for instance, that I was certified with you. I love that. What can we do with the chair? What can we do with our balance? What can we do with our posture? It's amazing.
It's a fascinating subject, because honestly, for 40 years as a personal trainer and the director for all those personal trainers in that corporate train I was developing, we wanted people out of the chair, right? Get out of the chair, get out of the chair, stand up, because we know the value of standing up and exercising.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been a means by which we can address the people that are not engaged yet. Engaged, I mean literally socially engaged, physically engaged, mentally engaged. There's that huge population that's not engaged yet in a fitness facility. And doesn't mean we can't have a seat program in the fitness facility, but it's given me the opportunity to be remotivated, inspired to work with inactive older adults, not just active older adults, but inactive older adults. And my new goal is to really find means by which to get them up and moving. And if the chair is the means, it allows them stability that they don't have when they're standing upright against gravity. It allows them control of their balance. It takes away the fear that the inactive older adult or the non-moving exerciser, let's call them that, okay, has to get up and move. They may have had a bad experience. They're nervous about being injured or being sore or not keeping up or seeing themselves in the mirror, right? All of the above. But it allows us to address the real needs that will allow them to take steps. I want them out of the chair.
Yes.
That's the goal. That's the goal, is to get up and move and be able to adhere to and more advanced activities of daily living. And I would say, as an industry, we're getting very skilled at designing programs that will help you or I or anyone else on this call or this program today get up and move. We're getting very skilled at designing functional training programs that transfer to advanced activities of daily life, like my friends, going to the Galapagos Islands, going to the safari, having a family reunion, jumping on water skis for the first time in 25, 30, 40 years, correct? We're good at that. We're skilled at that. But we're not yet really celebrating the fact that there's 80% of the people that don't think they can go on those excursions. And that's where SEAT comes in. It's supported exercise opportunity. It supports their skeletal muscular system. It allows them speed, power, balance. It works on gait, all of which we know they have to have trained and not be fearful of if they're going to move through space better.
I love the program so much. I have done it many times after I got certified. I love to set my SEAT class up in a circle so that we can see each other and support each other and communicate with each other, because there's so many other factors coming in, right? I always say the F word of fitness, and okay, let's get away from fitness, but it's not the F word of movement. Right? F word of movement now. It's just, fun with friends, right?
Yeah. The other thing, this is something that you and I can relate to as certified instructors with the seated program. a lot of the instructors that I know over the 40 years have kind of poo-pooed seated programs. No, really, right?
Yeah.
I've gone through that with aquatics too. Like, it's not the place for them to grow their career. It is the place to grow their career. And having a branded program that has the science behind what we've developed should be giving these professionals the confidence to take on this next chapter. Like I said, we've survived so many chapters, and instructors out there with 40 years experience, 30 years experience, they know how to coach. They know how to cue. They know how to empower. They know how to turn the crowd on with or without a microphone, with a little bit of music. So this is where I'm hoping to inspire that instructor that's looking for that next chapter, because it's wide open.
And you're doing it, and you're doing it all over the country. You're doing it in Asia, you're doing it in Canada. You're an amazing presenter and program designer. That means if Anne goes all over the world and she will teach other exercise, movement, fitness, movement instructors to at those conventions to take in what you are teaching us. And this is so important. It's almost breaking down from wanting to be really difficult and complicated, right? We used to go into these immense, twists and turns on the step, right? And the more choreography, better. And I love breaking it down to absolutely nothing. I love that, and making that absolutely nothing, that one move, so interesting and so functional, and so with so many benefits that they can immediately experience. And that is what I love so much now. So coming back from being really complicated to making it a little bit more understandable. Simple is not the right word, but it's understandable, approachable.
Approachable is a perfect word. And thank you for the compliments, honestly, but this is just like an eye-opening, one day, let's go. Let's make it easy again for the instructor and the participant. Stop calling it exercise and just get them moving, right? And having some type of, like you say, some type of joyful experience, and not necessarily about how many reps or how many sets.
I love the success stories as well. Give me a success story from somebody who walked into your Fit Her Health Club. And this is, by the way, I have to say that your health club is humongous. It's huge. It's the largest one in your city. You have added on a sauna. There's a kiddie area for the babies. So everybody has that experience of coming in. It is an experience, and that is so important as well to have that together. So tell me a little bit about where it started, and give me a success story of one of your amazing.
I knew you were going to ask me where it started, where this whole thing started. It started, believe it or not, and I was a survivor at that time of obesity. I went to a little tiny health club many, many years ago, 40 years ago. My kids are 40, 45, 47 right now. To a little tiny health club that had a very strong niche attachment. It was women's only, believe it or not. Now hold on to that, right? And they were only opened in the afternoon because that's when the daddies came home to watch the kids, so the mommies could go. And I started going, and I felt very comfortable. It was probably no bigger than my little studio right here. And I found that there were like goals. And it wasn't about how they fit or if they lost all their baby weight, or it was about getting away from the kids, having an experience with adults, and then returning with that sense of camaraderie and confidence to make them a better mom. So at that studio, I learned to be a better mom, not a presenter. But there was nothing that gave us an experience. So after we had chit chat and coffee, there was no exercise or movement pattern. So I sat on top of a table as an obese mom of three children in cloth diapers, by the way. I laid on a table and put Jane Fonda on, and that was our first aerobic class, if you will. We quickly grew in the South Bend, Indiana area, and my friend and I opened a studio called Just Aerobics. So I can't just give you one success story. Follow me on this little adventure, and you're going to see more and more success stories that don't have to do with me. They have to do with these participants. And we opened up this little studio that had nothing more than indoor-outdoor carpeting on cement floor. And we turned on loud music, probably too loud, which is why I can't hear these days, probably. But all we did was high-impact aerobics. And we jumped, and we screamed, and we all got together. And it was a women's-only experience. It was a niche. There was a powerhouse. There was a Gold's Gym right around the corner that had the same programs. shared each other's trends. We had unique programming that no one else had. And we were the first place in South Bend at that time. That was my first little franchise that had what we called the kids care area. And then that just grew like crazy. I had to move though, because my dad, my husband, my dad of the children I am now grown up with 7 grandchildren, told me we're moving in a week to Florida. So we came to Florida in a week's time and I sold that franchise. And I peppered myself at the advice of a mentor. I peppered myself around Tampa area to find the right niche. And I ended up at this little place that, believe it or not, and I'm not lying, had indoor, outdoor carpeting, but this time it was pink. It was pink.
Yes.
It was Shapes Total Fitness for Women. And they welcomed me in with open arms. And I realized there was so much need for education. Yeah. Women were there, they were gathering, they had their social fix, they had their mental fix, but they didn't really know how to make themselves healthier. And that was the first club I was ever in that I felt like, that was the late 90s, 1996, I think, that I felt that women were really focused on being healthier. And that's where we started something called small group training. And believe me, it was not popular at that time at all. So I set myself on putting a team together, not myself, of innovative visionaries, if you could call them that put together a whole menu of small group training options. Now listen to what they were. They didn't have much to do with exercise. We had Bible study. We had quilting. Wow. We had a walk-off weight group. We had Tai Chi in the pool. We had step class with partners, 2 people on 1 step at all time. All of these unique offerings at the time that none of the other health clubs in the area had. Right. And the health clubs were booming at that time. Yeah. About the year 2000, someone came down and said, why is this little tiny boutique niche women's only facility seeing so much success? And they pointed their finger at Shapes Fitness for Women. They didn't point their finger at me. They pointed the finger at the facility. And Ace and Ursa came down and they said, what's happening here? There's so much unique programming options that are not offered at other facilities. At that time, we put together our first Yes You Can with Cancer program. And I am a breast cancer survivor. Many of you know that, right? But at the time I was not, but 1 out of 8 members of the women's only facility had been affected at some point in their life with breast cancer. So it made sense that our club would bring programming that they needed, not that everybody else was doing in the trendy fitness growth at the time. So I think that was the first success stories that I could share with you, that people grew and became successful entrepreneurs themselves. Out of that first club in the Tampa Bay area, we still have eight trainers in my facility that are still working at my Fit-Her that came from the member base. Wow. So they established a full lifelong opportunity. Yeah. Yeah. So did I answer your question or did I go off?
Yes. Amazing. What I like so much is that it's such a flow of success, but you're just such a go-getter, and it's all about the clubs and you don't put yourself in the center. And I get that because that's how beautiful you are. And it's the success of the people. You're so focused on the outcome for everybody that comes in your world, including me. I love that so much about you. That is just what I see. And I see action, and then you kind of throw in, because you're an entrepreneur and you're a businesswoman, and that is really not easy to do, and especially not in those days when those big health clubs were all full of muscle. And
the big muscle guys, right?
Yeah, the guys. I mean, the pump, the whole thing. What was a struggle besides your personal health?
Well, I was going to say, you don't think I've been successful all those years, do you? Because no, that's not the truth.
It sounded so good. It was, you know.
Oh, I know. All those words that we use every single day, like balance and time management and technology skills, and all of those things hit me head on that same time that Ace and Ursa gave us that award. And I realized that I was very skilled and I knew a lot about muscles and calories and implementing programming, but I didn't have business skills. And that was the first time I reached out to mentors. I've had 4 big mentors in my career, and tried to learn some business skills. And I think the biggest downfall I've had is managing to always grow those business skills. I didn't know what numbers were. My mentor and I giggle at the fact that I didn't know what a KPI stood for. When I went to my first meeting that was surrounded by mainly men, I was the only gal in the group, and they started talking about their KPIs. I learned very quickly that as a business person, you know your numbers inside and out every single day, not just on Fridays when there's admin time, but every single day. You know where every penny is coming in and where every penny's going. And I always was probably naive about spending. And I was a spender to satisfy my member base rather than a saver. And I've learned since then to save money. And I don't mean cut expenses or cut services or cut opportunities for my members, but I've learned to save when at all possible. And I try to forecast out a little bit better than I used to, and be able to see exactly what I need to bring in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now. And I try to rebrand myself all the time and rebrand my programming and make it unique and special so that it's just ours and nobody else's. And that's what we call a boutique experience. You know,
It is that is so difficult. I'm glad you brought that up, because the fact that is difficult for women. I think a lot of women, and maybe a little bit more in our generation, not the younger generation anymore, but that whole business aspect of wanting to look at, who wants to look at numbers, who wants to do them, who wants to do them at the end of the day, who wants to have a shopping budget, and especially when you're running a place, when you have to learn all that, that's pretty difficult. And in the pace that it went right now, and everybody knows that, all the listeners know this, it goes even faster, because now we had to add on selfies, we had to add on social media. I call you the social media expert, because I can't help anything. You have a great video. Then it went from, posting something to having a 30-second video or a 3-second video, and all that stuff that you need to keep up with is a lot of work as well. And that is,
what I think the big thing that we forget as fitness pros or fit pros is that we can't make our money inside a facility. Our money is made through outdoor marketing and community awareness. And that was a big eye-opening experience when we start to promote from outside of the doors of your facility or wherever you're working, whether it be in a studio like this or whether it be in a 15,000 square foot facility. When I learned that lesson, I think I became more confident. When I learned it's okay to put myself out into the community and be vulnerable, to be able to have to answer questions, to put myself in those work and networking groups and the value of networking, outdoor marketing became a joy. Joy about 5 years ago. But before then, it was a hassle. It was a hassle. I didn't want to walk into before COVID. I didn't want to walk in and introduce myself. I was trying to make a living in the walls of a facility. Right? Yes. Instead of being out into the community and spreading the word of women's only wellness. And that was a big turning point when I realized that I don't have to sell from within my club. My happy members, my satisfied customers are my salespeople for me. Yeah. And if we have a great referral system, I can then jump out and become the TV person or organize the chamber meetings and be the TED Talk guy at the women's groups, and that's really what's helped our business grow.
It's difficult because we had to go through COVID, but it helped. Definitely, just like you said, it helped a little bit with me getting used to, yes, I am the face of my brand. So I have to be out there as the face of my brand. It's not about me. It's about the message that I'm delivering out there, that I'm trying to get people excited because I'm so excited. And that's what I'm trying to transmit, right? I'm so excited. So that's what I'm trying to transmit, to create that little bit of curiosity, and the rest should then fall in place. But that was really difficult for us all, I think, to learn. A lot of women have had difficulties with that. And a lot of people have a difficulty to see their business as a business and put some value on it, as you mentioned as well, because doing the numbers and seeing the stats put some value on what we're doing, because there is so much outcome that we don't recognize. I remember that for years, I didn't see or recognize the outcome as being so valuable because I didn't see myself. I didn't respect myself. Does that make sense? In the sense of we were just doing it because it was so much fun, but we were really not asking for the $60 for personal training that we gave, because people had so much outcome and so much results and so many benefits of what we were doing and delivering. So
I agree. I think that was the start of the imposter syndrome, don't you think?
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
so afraid. And again, one of my mentors is right here on the call today, taught me never to discount again. Stop discounting my services.
Yeah.
And I was the original discounter. Buy 8, get 2 free.
Yes.
Pay by the end of the month. We used to laugh about it. It was at the end of the closeout of the month. We had to like sell. Like the next day, the start of the next month, we were going to be closed or open, right? Remember, it was always about making it cheapened,
yeah,
rather than valued.
Yes.
You know, and we turned that corner. We became
Yes.
something that people really were interested in and wanted for
people
themselves.
to see. It definitely has to do with it. Imposter syndrome, the self-esteem, being judged, right? We're, as women, more so. And thank you, Bob, and thank you, Lawrence, always for being a
for sure
force. And no more disco, no more freebies, no more of that, you know, because outcome, listen to what you're doing. Listen to what people are coming back. I didn't listen to what people were coming back with, giving me so much testimonial. I was so, you know, so humble not to put up that testimonial as a big outcome. Look, people, what this, they lost weight, they feel better, they don't have sugar height anymore, their blood sugar levels, you know, all that stuff, right? I didn't recognize it, and I didn't prize myself or praise myself for it and put value on it. Thank you so much for that. Yes. So what does ultimately success mean for you?
Oof.
That's such a big word. It's such a big word.
You didn't prep me for that question.
What does success mean for us? Yeah. Sometimes I'm thinking about, okay, so I give you a little in there. I'm telling my clients that I work with when it comes to coaching about life in general, that success means that you're giving and receiving pretty evenly when it comes to work-life balance, when it comes to your finances, your career, the time with your children, and me time, of course, right? So in all these areas, we feel some kind of a balance. Do you feel, let me rephrase that, do you feel some kind of a balance when it comes to work life, spending time with family, spending time with you? Me time is so important. Self-care, growth, right? The personal development, spiritual, all that.
All of the above. And I think the biggest message that you and I probably share, and those on the call also, we can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. So 4 big mentors in my life. Yes, Bob, Lawrence, Nathalie, and Sarah Cooperman, probably also a mentor in my life, as well as a dynamic team that I can entrust, that they share my vision, that they understand. I give them a voice. I let them fail. I let them pick themselves up. I let them make the next decision for the entire team. But I think learning that we're not alone, and there's always someone out there to help you, and their business is helping us, and then building a team. And I think that the biggest thing that I want to do, and you said, what do you want to do now, is I want people to understand that in health and fitness, you can't just do one thing and be successful. And we call it hybrid, right? We call it hybrid fit pro. But to be successful, you have to be able to adjust your wings, if you will, and walk away so that you can really empower the 80% of the people in the world that are not moving. And that means you have to teach a little, you have to coach a little, you have to jump a little, you have to exercise a little, you have to count sets and reps once in a while, but you have to get up and get people moving. And you can only do that if you're able to stop and listen and deliver what the member needs. And all the mentors out there, all the fit pros out there are saying, we have to be able to meet that 80% where they are today.
Where they're at.
Create intensity, but options for them to get started. So that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. I want all the seated exercise in the world to be making people feel comfortable about getting started again or starting up again for the first time. I want the seated exercise programs to stop the fear that they have to exercise, that they're going to get hurt or injured. I want them to realize that the seated exercise programming, or starting with movements rather than sets and reps, both looking at it both ways, is going to allow them to be healthier and diminish the opportunity for onset disease. I want to get on that high horse now, and I think at my age and with my experience level, I feel confident now being part of teams across the world, and have a team of myself that's as strong to be able to deliver that message. It's big. It's a big message. It's a big message.
Yeah, it's a big message.
It doesn't have to do with a certain spin class or just Pilates, or in my case, just aquatics, or just seat, or weight training, or lifting heavy things because you're in menopause. It has to do with understanding that we're still only addressing the same 20% that we did the year I won that ACE and URSA award in 2001, when they said we're only addressing 16% of the population. We're no better. We're only at 20. So we have to bond together, if you will, and make our voice be heard. And not just on a Saturday, which is a great opportunity. Thank you again. But out 7 days a week.
Well, and on top of that, we're still going to having more of us active agers in the world, right? So there's less younger, but a lot of us healthy, wannabe, add on, another 20 years of our life, a lot more people. How do we reach them to make this happen? When it comes to movements, there's more awareness that I am big on, right? Creating more mental health awareness and bringing that together, right? Mind, body, bringing that together, how the body reacts, how people are reacting when they first walk in, intimidation, feeling. And just like you said previously, everything is teamwork. We want to belong. Success is together. What you pointed out, success is us belonging to each other and encouraging each other and finding the right group and the right team to belong. But people, when they walk in as well. So there's also a lot of that, what's going on in their mind. We become more aware of what their thinking is, right? We become more aware of listening and tending to that. So I love that you said I brought that up, and that's absolutely so true. So, and I want to find out where you're going. We'll wrap it up a little bit here in the next 5 minutes. Where are you going the next 20 years? What are you doing?
On vacation?
Start bringing that awareness.
Oh, you're not talking about vacation?
Yeah.
20 years. I am going to spend, and this is an important sentence in today's session, I'm going to spend a little bit more time starting in June 1st, and on making sure that I stay healthy. And I've been sick once, and I want to make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to keep my own health as a focus. Sometimes we forget that. If we're going to continue to inspire for 20, you said 20 more years, really? 20 more years? But if we're going to do that, then we need to take a little bit more care of ourselves as Hybrid Fit Pros. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time this summer making sure that I'm focused on my nutrition and adding things to my daily routine that are going to enhance not just a performance, but the performance of my body. Because there's always a fear of getting sick again. And that's not fair to put that out for my family. So that's where I'm going this summer. That's emotional, that's deep, but I'm going to take care of my health. I'm going to continue to work on my time management skills. And that doesn't necessarily just mean days off or going to the beach in Tampa, but really being a little bit more organized and spending days continuing to be organized. And I want to make sure that I'm constantly, trying to find the next person to replace us, an active older adult niche personal trainer. This person is, there's a need to find the next person. And I think that my job in the next 20 years is to inspire new people into our business. And I don't think we do that. I just look at aquatic fitness and how hard it is to find the next fit pro for aquatics. The most sought after exercise regime there is aquatics internationally. That's why I've been to Tokyo to teach certifications to 100 people, right? But we're not finding that person that wants to jump into that environment, although we know it's very important. So I would say my next 20 years is to empower the next Hybrid Fit Pros and share and give back.
Thank you so much. You're such a huge inspiration to me. since the first time that I walked in as my very first gig as a presenter, and you gave me a huge hug and were right there next to me. So was Lisa Gibbons. She was on my show a couple of weeks ago. Lisa, you were just Lisa and Anne were my huggers. The very first time I was so scared going all over the country. I was so scared and I needed that togetherness. And here we are all together. I love you so much for sharing. The last wise word from my audience from Anne Gilbert.
Oh, get some sleep, guys. Get some sleep. Learn to turn off your head, your computers, right? Because it's always on. Everybody on this call today, I know your computers are always on 24/7. So I guess learn to turn it off every once in a while.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. We are our worst persons when it comes to our advice, right? To follow up on our own. And where can we find you? Where do you
I'm active on social media. Look forward to launching a new landing page in June. So
Okay.
I'll share that with you when it comes. But Facebook, Instagram, my Facebook is my personal, and you'll see my business because I think they blend together, and that's at Anne D. Gilbert. Instagram, watch, I'm going to be doing a series of videos starting on self-care for the aging Fit Pro starting in June. So you'll see some of that on Instagram. And I'm also very active on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much for having me. So much fun.
I want to invite everybody to stay on. If we're not recording anymore, we're going to open it up for the conversation. I love that about this platform. Thank you all who listened today on Roku, Amazon, Apple, or here live in the studio. We're going to quit recording. I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching Allianz Joy and listening to Allianz Joy. I appreciate you.